Hello, everyone. My name is Sarafi, and I'm happy to meet you. Today, I'll be sitting down with one of my colleagues, uh, the Black Feather Guru, also known as the Blackwing Guru or Crow. Crow, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I like Blackwings, if you can't tell, and I just play Saki going second decks.
All right. Well, the question on everyone's mind is, how bad is Diablo Immortal?
Um, like that's kind of a loaded question. I think it shows that the how far you can actually push the gameplay of a mobile game because the gameplay itself feels fantastic. It's just everything else is terrible. From the not the level design specifically, but a lot of the choices when it comes to level design, the monetization, um, the group content feels a little lacking when you're a new player and you're going into a dungeon and everyone just blows up the dungeon in 2 seconds. Uh, so yes and no. It's a good game if we're just talking about how it feels. It's a terrible game if we're talking about everything else.
You're really popular on the Diablo Reddit, right?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I got one post that blew up a little bit on Diablo 4, but besides that, yeah.
Okay. Well, uh, I talked with Gold before about the
Mhm.
roles that gurus play, and
Mhm.
you are the first guru to have ever joined the guild. Is that correct?
I so to clarify a little bit, Cynthia. No, sorry, I'm yelling at my cat to anyone listening. Originally it was the Cyber Dragon Guru, who at the time was Resonator Guru, the Cubic Guru. We had an Ojama Guru at the time, and I don't think there was anyone else. I was the first one to actually become a guru after the server was started, though. Yes.
Yeah. And you've stuck with it the whole time. So, what is it that you like about this Discord server and this community that keeps you coming back for so long?
So the reason I stay in the server is the community, as you just said. The community is great. If you go in other, Yu-Gi-Oh servers or different places, generally it's a lot more try hard. It's a lot more toxic. Yu-Gi-Oh players can kind of just be jerks. This community is pretty chill. God, I can't even. I think it's been 2 or 3 years since I've been here. Anytime someone starts acting out, we talk to them maturely. I think we've only ever had to ban 2 or 3 people throughout that entire time, besides bots or whatever. The community is great. Everyone is very accepting of others. Everyone just, yeah, it's a good vibe.
All right. Thank you for that. Uh,
Mhm.
so, what actions do you take other than posting, on your YouTube channel and on your private channel? What what actions do you take to keep the community going and give us a little peek into the things that you do specifically?
Uh, So technically, I'm an admin for the server. I don't do as much admin work. Generally, uh, what my role in the guild kind of goes down to, besides, obviously, answering Blackwing questions and helping out with that, is I am the person not doing events, but generally getting all the background stuff set up for events so that they can run smoothly and go through, whether that be streaming stuff or getting channels and servers and different stuff ready. I set up the server for our interview server because how we used to do it is we'd have a group DM and we'd invite the person, but group DMs are limited to 10 people. So once we start growing a bit more, that didn't work. Uh, so generally, a lot of the background stuff within the server is done by me, whether that's creating new channels, getting roles done, yeah, stuff like that.
Okay. You talked about interviews, and that's leading into my next question. For
Mhm.
anyone who's watching this video who might be interested in applying to become a guru, What advice would you have for them?
Uh, real big thing. Don't try to suck up. Just be yourself. There is one thing we get annoyed by more than anything here. It's people trying to suck up to us. It's always blatant and obvious, and it's just annoying. So just be yourself. Be cool. Uh, Admit when you don't know stuff. If you persist that you know something when it's very clearly wrong, then that's gonna, generally get brought up, stuff like that. Um, you know, we've had quite a few gurus that previously before their guruship they weren't as good, so we denied them, but they continued to learn. They became really good players, and then we accepted them onto the team later on. So yeah, just be willing to learn and just be yourself.
Okay, thank you. You started the Guild of Gurus YouTube channel, right?
I think Kevin started that, but I do most of the posting and stuff.
So I'm sure that people are curious as to why the schedule is not more frequent. We do post quite a bit on Reddit, but when it comes to our YouTube content, everyone's looking to mostly you and Kevin and Cly. And while Cly has done a great job recently, we haven't seen too much from everyone else.
Yeah, generally it just comes down to time constraints, and at least for the general Guru channel, we want to post stuff that's more related to the guild rather than just random stuff that anyone would post. I'm thinking about like just opening it up so anyone can post anything, just so we can, get a little bit more out on the channel. As long as it's Guild of Gurus related, stuff like that. I'd have to pass out by Cubes and Cyber Dragon Guru. And yeah, it's definitely less stuff than I would want. Um, it's there's needs to be a little more focus on the media side of things, I think, rather than the Reddit side of things. I We need to start streaming to Twitch a bit more. We used to, or I guess rather, I used to stream games every weekend. I would do Master Duel a bit, but people don't really like streaming Master Duel, especially when people are playing on phones, because games drag on. The tournaments are like 5 hours. No one wants to sit there for 5 hours when players are taking like a minute plus per turn just sitting there. Duel Links, I think, is much better for streaming, at least. It's a lot more fast paced. There's less sitting around. There's still sitting around, but yeah, stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
Um, and for everyone who's wondering, he's referring to when he says cubes, the Cubic Guru, who is
Yeah, sorry, that's my nickname for him.
the Cubic Guru is one of our head gurus,
Yeah,
besides the Cyber Dragon Guru. Anyway,
he was the first guru.
so let's talk about the game. So
Hmm.
you are a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and
Yep.
you enjoy Blackwings specifically. So
Yep.
what about synchro summoning appeals to you?
So, funnily enough, it I used to be more into fusion summoning. Then once I started the fusion summoning, or sorry, synchro summoning, it feels a lot more big brain to try to plan out your moves way ahead of time so that you have the exact levels you need to get out a bunch of stuff. I put out a video once, what you can do with one Simoon on field, or
I've seen
two
that video.
Simoons
It's
in
very good.
hand, or whatever. And if you just it's not really super viable, but since any Ash would cut down the combo, not the entire chain of play, just like parts of it. But you can go through a 15 card extra deck in a single turn with just two Simoons, and that's that's through careful planning and like actually executing, making sure you're leveling and climbing those levels and stuff like that.
Thank you. What are your thoughts on Raikiri being a rare in Duel Links?
So I agree with Konami on that. I As much so, okay, I'm of two sides. So back when they released this box, Konami had a very big thing about never limiting or banning ultra rares or rare or super rares. So at the time, if they had made Raikiri an ultra rare, they would not have been able to limit him. It would have made the deck cheaper overall if Raikiri had taken up a spot of something else like Simoon or something. But at the time, Blackwings was tier one, I believe. It was an extremely powerful deck. It was everywhere on the ladder. I still loved playing it, but like, it at least in Duel Links, it's a pretty mindless synchro spam deck. It's not healthy to have a deck that powerful in the meta. It had a negate and a hand trap, mind you, which back then was extremely powerful, especially when the meta was uh, oh God, I can't even remember what the meta was. I know it was pretty monster heavy at the time, though.
Hmm.
So having a monster negate, it was just strong. Thankfully, during the first, I think it was the first two KC Cups, no one had figured out the strategy of using the Ancient Fairy Dragon at the time with Necro Valley in order to buff card. But that changed a little whiles in, I think 3 or 4 months into the lifetime. And if that hadn't, or if that had been discovered sooner, I think Blackwings would have gotten hit a lot harder. So just to sum it all up, I think Raikiri at Rare was perfectly fine. I think it was a good call on Konami's part because then they were able to limit it and stop Blackwing's overwhelming presence at the time.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Blackwing's current viability in terms of Master Duel?
In Master Duel, I think they're actually fantastic. I don't, I haven't looked at Master Duel meta in a while. I imagine they're either low meta or high rogue. They have a lot of interactions. They have a lot of ways to be built. You can do pure synchro. You can go for, like a kind of combo deck using stuff like the Phantom Knights rank up magic to go into Kali Yuga on your opponent's turn, which completely locks them out of their turn. You can get the really, I guess this isn't a master tool. I don't think the synchro for, oh god, I can't remember the name. The level 10 Dark Dragon synchro. It's for the dragon guys that you can special summon from your hand. I can't place their name now.
I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about. Otherwise, I would help you out.
You banish a light or dark card from a grave, and you can special summon it from hand.
Special summon from hand. Are you talking about Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon?
No, 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 no. It's a hand trap.
Oh, the
Anyways,
Bestials. Bestials. You're
beach
talking.
deals. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yep.
Okay.
I think we don't have that card yet in Master Duel. I don't believe the Synchro Bestial.
Oh,
Once
I
that
don't think
gets
so either.
added, yeah. Once I think it's like Wallow Drudge Dragon or something
Mm.
like that. Once we get that, Blackwings will be so much better. We'll give them a turn one play that will allow them to be able to mess with the opponent's graveyard during their turn. And it's just a really good card in general. But just overall, Blackwings are an amazing place. I it's nice because before that new support Hitmaster Duel, they were frankly just boring. It was Kali Yuga spam every single game. They just couldn't do too much else.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
So you mentioned that you like streaming games and that you wanted to start streaming more frequently, like you used to. So
Yeah.
I know that you got a new PC, and so we're all looking forward to more Crow content. Um, are you going to be
Hmm.
focusing primarily on Yu-Gi-Oh, or are you thinking that you might expand it a little bit?
I think people would primarily expect me to be a Yu-Gi-Oh channel, but Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of like I don't want to say side game for me because it's definitely a big part of what I play, but it doesn't represent my main game style, which is generally going to be co-op looter shooter type games. Warframe, Deep Rock Galactic, stuff like that. And I would definitely want to include some of that just because Warframe has been a huge part of my life ever since 2015, and I wouldn't feel right about doing a streaming channel without doing stuff like that. And I think people just get bored seeing, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh every single day.
Well, then, so when I post this video, you can share it on your channel, and then include a poll and ask people if what they want to see, if they want to see more, you know, other content, and then you can kind of judge for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a good idea. I like that.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you've had to ban people from the server before, and that's obviously going to be a red flag to a lot of people because they want to be
Yeah.
able to speak about what they want to. You
Oh
said
yeah.
that it's mostly an accepting place, um, really chill and not too try hard. What can you
Mm-hmm.
tell everyone else who might be thinking about joining the Guild of Gurus who were expecting a more competitive environment from a server that is associated with people who claim to be experts?
So it's not to say that we aren't competitive. We do 6 to 7 tournaments a week. Uh, when we, I like how DZ put it one time. We are casually competitive. We will build up our pet decks, our favorite little casual decks, or meta decks to the best they can be to try to compete with the current meta. Uh, and I think that kind of represents us. If you go to a different server and ask, oh, well, how do you build, I don't know, Malefics, they're going to be like, just don't, trash deck, don't bother. Here, we're going to seriously consider the deck and be like, well, here's some options. This plays well with Malefics. Here's some skills you might use. I think in Duel Links, it's a little more obvious. That was just the first rogue deck that came to mind. Stuff like that. If someone wanted to build a deck with the Egyptian god cards or something, we would do our best to help them with that and try to make it as competitive as possible, which we've seen different decks and stuff like that happen over the years. You mentioned banning people. I don't remember the specifics, but it's generally the only people we've had to ban is people who are being just very rude or not condescending, because condescending isn't, it's rude, but it's not terrible. More so people who aren't accepting of others. We have quite a few people who are transgender in our community, or are different. Like I myself, I'm bi, stuff like that, and people who just can't accept stuff like that and have to feel like they need to speak out, which is very rare. I think nowadays people are more accepting of stuff like that. It's only people who go above and beyond that we've had to ban in those cases.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Hmm.
Moving on. So, you mentioned that we have tournaments, and that is a feature that the Guild of Gurus might be known better for, uh, hopefully soon. That we have a custom ban list. What goes into adjusting for a custom ban list on our server?
That probably would not be the question to ask me. I don't have too much to do with that side of things. I know, I have access to the tournament organizer chat, and I know they spend like hours debating like what should be on and what shouldn't be on the custom ban list. I know right now they're looking at updating some of the rules for that. I think it's really good to have a custom ban list, though. It allows for more flexibility than Konami does. I think it allows stuff like Cyber Dragons, like they're still on the ban list in Duel Links for some reason. So with that, we can just take them off because obviously, completely unbanned, they're gonna be a threat to absolutely no deck. So having a custom ban list is really good for the game.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
All right, well, I think that's most of what I wanted to discuss. So before we wrap things up, real quick, do you have any of the other gurus that you want to shout out to?
Obviously, Cubic Guru is my man. Kevin is always a swell guy. The Kevin is a Cyber Dragon Guru. Obviously, I want to thank you for hosting this and having me on. And, Mr. Sharp, always a sharp guy. We have a lot of conversations about heroes and stuff like that.
Yes, well, thank you very much for joining me. It was a pleasure always, Crow.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being on. I very much appreciate it, dude.
All right. Well, everyone else, this is Crow. If you have any interest in seeing more Crow content, you can go onto the Guild of Gurus Discord server. The link is in the description. His channel name changes all the time. It will probably change before I upload this video. But
Usually something to do with burbs.
something to do with Simoon. Yes. Um, this is Sarafi. I was thrilled to have you all with me.